Hello, everyone. I'm going to get started shortly. Give folks some time to come on in as we get ready to bring back the return of the Conscious Conversation, brought to you by Can't Stop, Won't Stop Consulting. Hello, hello, y'all. I'm going to get started shortly. Hey, hey. Hey, y'all. We're going to get started shortly as we prepare to bring back Conscious Conversation. Hello. Can you hear me okay?
Yes, I can.
Okay, awesome, awesome, awesome. Gonna go ahead and try to invite our other guests here to join us. We'll get started shortly, y'all. Okay. Right. And now we're just waiting for Troy to join us. And we'll get started. But thanks everyone for joining. We are getting ready to bring back Conscious Conversation, brought to you by Can't Stop, Won't Stop Consulting. We'll get started soon. Okay. Hey folks, we're gonna get started shortly. All right. I see Troy coming in. All right.
Yo,
Hello.
yo, what's up?
How you doing?
I'm good, you?
I'm doing good. Just before we get started, I just want to check, Dario, are you still able to hear both of us? Okay, awesome. I wanted to do a quick little access check. We're gonna go ahead and get things going. But hello, everyone. Welcome to the next Conscious Conversation brought to you by Can't Stop, Won't Stop Consulting. I'm your host, Gregory Allan Datu Cendana. And today I am extremely excited about our featured guest, a local business owner and entrepreneur, Troy Malone. Um, I'm going to give a little bit of background as we get Troy back on.
All
But
right, there
born
we
and
go.
raised, okay, you're back.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. I'm gonna do a little bit of an introduction from what I was, a little bit of introduction, and we'll dive into it. But
All right,
um, born and raised in Brooklyn,
yes, sir.
Troy began cutting hair at the age of 19, driven by the personal experience of not being able to get regular haircuts. He since then moved to Atlanta in 2007 and became the proud owner of Handsome Academy Studio.
Man,
Seeing the world filled with too much negativity, he calls his business more than just a barbershop. instead is a place to build each other up, which is leads us to our little one of our parts of our themes for today's conversation. So in addition to all of these things, I have the privilege of knowing Troy because he has also been my barber since I moved to Georgia earlier this year. And we had some really dope conversations just about life, politics, running a business. And because of that, I'm particularly excited about today's conversation. So welcome, Troy. How are you doing today?
I'm good, man. How you feeling?
I'm doing good. I'm doing good.
That's what's
I,
up.
I'm looking forward to this conversation. Thank you again for taking some time to speak with me today.
Of course, man. It's gonna be like just how we usually be in the shop, I
Yeah,
guess.
but now people are other people get to experience and watch. So, but my first question, and this is a question, Troy, that I ask all of the guests for the conscious conversation. In the spirit of civil rights organizer and activist Ella Baker, who are your people?
Uh, Malcolm X is my guy. I
Okay.
think it's crazy. I think every year, maybe for like 5 or 6 years from middle school into high school, I did a book report on Malcolm X, and it was like every year was like added information, added information. Like he was basically like the person that he was my enemy, right?
Mhm.
So like where I come from, like it was a lot of negativity. I didn't really have like the voice to stand up for myself. I mainly fought outside, right? And it was out of anger. And
Mhm.
he was like that person that was like he just had so much power, and he wasn't soft. He just was just this man that I wanted to be, but in certain aspects and parts of my life, I couldn't be that strong because of where I
Mhm.
was. Like I
Mhm.
couldn't fight for myself. So he was like the person that I just looked up to, even to now. Like that's just a person I always looked up to. So that's my guy right now. Probably
Okay.
gonna be my guy forever.
Um, what was I guess how did you get introduced to him? Like what was your entry point?
um, well, back in the day, they actually taught us about civil rights and the black struggle and stuff. Not so much now. Um, so when I read about him, and it was like, he was just this guy that was like in the streets, because now I can relate to it because I became a young guy in the streets and just doing what I want to do, how I want to do it, no guidance, don't know where I'm going, and just finding a way to use that and turn it into a positive, get out of certain things that I was getting into. And with him, he was out there. He went to jail, and in jail he learned about the Islamic belief. I'm not a Muslim or anything like that. I'm a Christian, but I mean, they kind of go hand in hand. He learned his religion, and it taught him to be this particular person. And just a little bit that he knew just from being in jail just made him just want to go further with it. And yeah,
I appreciate that. Yeah, well, let us invite the spirit and guidance from Malcolm X ongoing and including our conversation today, and
yes,
appreciate
sir.
you bringing him in. The next question that we like to ask all of our guests, Troy, and then we'll get into some more specifics about just your background and story. But when was the last time you felt brave?
Uh, Last time I felt brave, when I started making videos and just kind of uplifting little content on Instagram, which is real recent, like within the last couple of months or so. I think anything you do You got to have some type of bravery or some type of courage.
Hmm.
I mean, even if it's your friend and they might be over here and they might be kind of doing something that's not warranted, something that's negative, and for you to just say something that takes some type of bravery, because we all, kind of don't want to offend anybody, but you got to have that bravery and that courageousness to say, hey, listen, this ain't right. You know what I mean? Like, hold people accountable, hold yourself accountable. I think that takes the most bravery. So just me being more accountable in my life, it takes a bunch of bravery because,
Hmm.
you when you're around certain people and you used to being a certain way, when you start switching up, you get judged. They look at you different and oh, you're not down anymore. You're not this anymore. So that takes a lot of bravery. So that's a daily thing. I think every day it's some type of bravery we gotta have just to move around in our daily life.
No, I appreciate that because I think, to your point, there is a lot of bravery in the things that we do day to day, and I like to call what you describe as like being accountable to ourselves, being accountable to our people and communities. Like that's work that I feel like sometimes people avoid, because of shame, because of, um, they're not given the tools or the language to be able to engage in in those conversations,
Right.
and um, at least how I've also experienced it, it's also been very punitive, meaning accountability has come in a form of like punishment versus trying to actually engage in conversation to build trust, to build connection, to be able to have, conflict that can actually that is actually generative versus feeling like I'm getting punished for something that I have done. And so, as we build a world that is more open and that creates that kind of relationship to build that kind of accountability, I could see how so many of the things that we do, are considered and can be considered brave. So I appreciate you bringing that in.
Yeah.
Um, the so I kind of want to shift a little bit to just talking a little bit more about your background. Um, I know we mentioned as part of like your introduction and bio that you've been on this entrepreneurial journey, mostly out of necessity for yourself and, some of the experiences that you've had, growing up. Can you share a little bit more about why becoming a barber? What inspired you and led you to, taking this journey?
Um, I grew up in foster care, and my one of my foster brothers, the middle one, we're real close. His name is Rob. So Rob, if he looking out, yo, we're real close, and he's a barber. So one of my first young person jobs was like I used to go to the barber shop and clean up. Like
Mm,
I was like a little hustler, like a little just miniature hustlers from 8 years old. I used to just go clean up the barber shop and like rake and do all. I used to do everything in the world, like just to make money. But specifically the barbering, it was just like I would, you're not cleaning all day, so I would just sit there and just watch all of the barbers, and of course him because that's Big Bro.
mm,
So I used to
mm,
just watch and it was just amazing to me. Like yo, like I usually tell my clients, hey, you come in homeless and you walk out handsome. So that was it. Like it was like, yo, like people are really coming in looking the craziest they could look, and they walk out and they like looking the best they could look, and they smiling. Like some people when they come in, they're not smiling. They're just, hey, what's up?
mm,
They leave, and they might see that glance in the mirror and be like, yeah. And I used to love that. Like, and of course, even though he was a barber, he didn't live with me, so it was still hard to get cuts and all that. So me walking around with the little fro every 2 or 3 months, I get a cut with the little fro looking like baby Michael Jackson. When I get my cut, I'm like, yes, like, ah. So I learned how to cut my own hair.
mhm,
You know what I mean? And it just went from there. Like I just love the art of barbering. I love art period, but just the art of barbering like is crazy to me.
So after you learned how to cut your own hair, what was the bridge between, all right, now I can do it for other people?
Um so basically I learned to just to line myself up because I had braids at the time,
Mm.
and one of my closest best friends to this day, his name Ricky, he would ask like, "Yo, where you get your hair cut from? Like your line is crazy, it's sharp. Where did you get it from?" And I'm like, "I did it." Like, and he was like, "Wait, for real?" And I'm like, "Yeah, I did it." So he was the first person that I cut, and I would just line up everybody in school, just give lineups all day. Like everybody used to come for me for a lineup. Yeah,
Mm.
so he started that.
What what has been some of the challenges that you've experienced as an entrepreneur?
Um, I would say your inner circle, the lack of support from your inner circle that
Mm.
you would expect. Now in my present day, like I don't expect anything from my inner circle, but in the beginning, it was like the lack of support, but then the the outpour of support when they see things going for you, like when they see other people that may be bigger or famous or more known showing you love, and then it's like, oh, we'll jump on it. So that is to me was
Mm.
the worst. It still is sometimes, but that was the worst for me.
Okay. And how did you get the support you needed, or what helped you navigate that?
Um, just appreciating the support that I did have.
Mm.
Yeah, just knowing like, okay, the inner circle, I guess because we expect it, you kind of feel like it's, a privilege to get it from these people. But once I started getting it from other people and stuff like that, and just having more and more positive conversations with people, it made all of that go away. Like the thoughts of what I didn't get did not supersede what I was getting, because now it's like, say if you give me a compliment, or you're coming and you're supporting me, like why would I ever, look at you and be like, he's not worth it. I don't even know him. I want these people over here that I know. But it's like, no, the person who I don't know is really top priority to me, because they don't know me. They're trusting me with their hair. They're trusting me with conversations. They're
Mm.
trusting me with a lot more than what even these people who might have known me all my life. I probably don't trust anything about them, and vice versa.
Yeah, no, I appreciate that. One thing that's coming up for me, Troy. You've mentioned this before, but you've also said this in one of your stories that you posted, that as you were expanding, like the folks that we've been working with, you were working with more people who identified as LGBTQ, lesbian, gay, bisexual, transgender, and queer. I appreciated. I guess it was I took it as vulnerable, like you saying I wasn't sure what it was going to be like being able to um, provide haircuts to folks in the LGBT community, but that it's really opened you up. And I would love if you'd be open to it, to share a little bit about like what were some of the apprehensions, what led you to actually to do that, and more about what that experience has been like after doing so.
Yeah. So, so when I first got my first like openly gay client, it was like, I hope this guy don't hit on me. I hope it just isn't uncomfortable. It was just all this type of things I thought of, like I just hope it's not gonna be a negative thing. Like My biggest fear or probably reluctancies in cutting a gay person hair was, this person better not hit on me. It's gonna be a problem. Once I cut their hair and I was like, okay, that was cutting a regular person hair, but my sister is lesbian. I got gay family, so it's like, I don't have any issues with gay people and never did, but it was like, please don't come on to me. You know what I mean?
Hmm.
Um, and the more they start coming, and it's just like, all right, they don't give two damns about me. They are cool, like you know what I mean. Like they regular. We have like great conversation. Like sometimes it's deep conversation where they open up, and some people tell me their deepest, darkest secrets. And it's for me to protect them. You know what I mean? And it's for me to treat them as equal as I would treat my brother, you know what I mean? My cousin who just happened to be straight and all that. So I gotta protect you guys just like you would want to protect me. You know what I mean? Like it's hard to explain. I mean everybody's human. That's what it boils down to. Everybody's human and we all got feelings. We all got, things that's going on with us. And at times, we feel unaccepted by whoever, and that's whether you gay, straight, or whatever it is. We feel unaccepted certain parts of our life. So me as a person that knows how it feels to be unaccepted, I would hate to make anybody else feel unaccepted. So like I just create a safe space for those people to come through and be themselves. I don't care if you float in here and you super flamboyant. Like you're gonna come in here, you're gonna get the best cut. We're gonna have the best conversation, and you're gonna walk out my brother. That's it.
Well, I definitely feel that, and myself personally, and also I just appreciate you sharing that because I think that one thing that I think one thing that I've been learning, even on just my own journey of coming out, or as I like to tell people, like letting people in, that I think the reverse or the other perspective of for those of us who identify as LGBTQ is that by putting ourselves out there, coming out and telling people that we identify as LGBTQ, will bring about like either violence or unacceptance or a lot of things. And so, as I've gotten more comfortable with myself and gotten and come into the wholeness and fullness of my identity, including being gay and queer, I've seen how that's it also invited others to do the same, and that there are ways for us to be our whole selves without necessarily being at odds with other folks. And if there are people who have problems or challenges, in my experience, it has more to do with them and what they're navigating than it does about me and like in my
About you.
experience.
Yeah.
So yeah, so I just wanted to say thank you because I think that even as I'm connecting both like you sharing that and even how I feel leaving after getting a cut from you, I do feel like I joke about it, but I'm serious. I'm like, okay, I feel like $1 million. Like people are over here giving me shout outs and being like, well, who does your hair? Because now I need to go and check them out.
Right.
Um, so just affirming that like both the I'm I'm a beneficiary of this like this positive and affirming environment that you're creating, and that people even if through me as one of your clients are also affirming your work and what you do. So just wanting
Yes,
to also
yes.
say that.
I appreciate it. I appreciate it.
You mentioned kind of being how the barbershop or sitting in the chair is a place where people can really have some authentic and honest conversations. You even shared like some people have told you some very vulnerable things.
Right.
Um, I'm curious, of course, without saying names or specific details, what has been the most what has been an example of a very meaningful conversation, and what has been an example of like a wild conversation that you've had?
Oh man. I don't get too much in a while. Like I tell all my clients, I don't care if you get it straight. If you gotta think of TMI before you tell me, just leave it alone. You know what I mean? Um, I I have had conversations where like like I have a gay client, and he's real cool. Like I mean like he's from Brooklyn. He's like he to me, like we be like, yo, bro, what up, bro? So I don't know what made me ask him, but we were talking, and I asked him listen, the closed mouth don't get fed, but I wanted the information because I think it did help me open up even more to what understanding what people go through. Um, so I asked them what in your life happened, or pretty much what made you gay? What made you
Mhm.
say, okay, I'm not gonna deal with women, I'm gonna deal with men? And he said, it just was he was assaulted by a man several times, and he thought it was he pretty much, because he never dealt with a woman before, so he kind of thought like that was it, like that was
Mhm.
how life goes. And it kind of made it not kind of, it really made me feel bad for asking, but also it gave me, you know, again, just that empathetic mind to say, okay, dag, like everybody goes through something. It's not just like straight people, it's not just women, it's not just men, like people go through things, and people
Mhm.
get taken advantage of, and it's just not right. You know what I mean? And you know, with him saying that, I just was like, you know what, like, I'm sorry that happened to you. Like, nobody deserves that. But it took the judgment out of it for me, because I just judged a lot. It's just judge, and it's like, it's you can't be judging everything. You know what I mean? And it really just helped me to understand, like, some people choose to be a certain way, and some people, like, they don't even understand what they're doing, and then they fall into whatever it is that they like or don't like or whatever in life. So yeah, that story kind of was it kind of hit me because he was so cool, you know what I mean? And it's like he's so happy and go lucky, and he's so, he tries to be so positive, and you know to have something so dark happen to you and you still be able to smile and kind of live your life. And I don't know what he thinks about when he's alone, but
Mhm.
just to know that, it just was like, I took it kind of hard, like, man. But later on, I was happy I asked, because it made me understand just people.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, first, wishing him all the healing and care and community, even as he holds that as part of his experience and experienced that. And I don't wish that on anyone, but hope that he's able to get the care and healing he needs. I think one way I describe it is that we, in any given moment of our lives, are the collection of the experiences leading up to that point, and that um, from the traumatic events to joyful positive events, like that collection of experiences makes us who we are, or at least informs the decisions that we make each day.
Right.
And um, I think one thing that um, as one thing that I'm learning for myself, and one thing that I am trying to figure out how to support others in, is how can we have enough healing and get to a place where we can recognize the impact or the ways and the things that we have learned, the lessons that we have learned from some of these experiences, including the negative ones or the
Mm-hmm.
traumatic ones, and then be able to um, uh, uh, process, heal, and hold them in a way that we can create a container that's about when um, this is what I've been able to learn, but how am I able to move on in a way that is healthy and that is conscious of also then how that informs my actions and interactions, particularly with other people, especially when I may feel sparked or triggered by something that somebody may say or something that I see on TV or hear in a conversation. So, I don't think that's always easy, but um, the more people can find folks to confide in, whether it be a barber, a therapist, a friend, a community member, I think the more that we will be able to hold those experiences and navigate them in healthier and better ways. So I also say thank you, to for holding space for him and also being able to use that as a way to think differently about not just like gay folks and LGBT, the LGBT community broadly, but just about humans and all the things that we
Yeah,
are holding that never leave our minds or never get shared.
right, right.
You mentioned I loved reading while I appreciate like while I've obviously been seeing you or going to your shop the last couple of months. I loved kind of going back and reading some of your old posts and um, also loved seeing you being featured in our city councilors monthly newsletter. In addition to being my barber, Troy and I are like basically neighbors. We live in the same neighborhood and we have the same city council
Yep.
representative. And so I loved kind of reading the way you articulated um, why you even named it Handsome Academy Studio. Can you share a little bit more about? I love. Can you share a little bit more with folks listening on what that story was? How you came up with that name, and anything else that you think may be of interest to folks and
Um,
understanding that.
Handsome Academy Studio. Basically, so several years ago, I started like making clothes and stuff, right? And again, everything is like centered around a haircut. I went to a barber and got a good haircut that day. You know, I felt good. Like I said, yeah, I just feel real handsome. I just feel it. Like, and I said, hey, I'm gonna get mad shirts that just say handsome AF, handsome AF, handsome AF made. And I just ran with the handsome part, because in my teen years, middle school to teen years, again, I was in foster care, so it was kind of a dark time for me. So handsome is not something that I ever felt.
Mm.
Um, so it was something that I just felt like I should project to people. You know, again, I don't care what you are, what your background is, my brother. We gonna be some handsome brothers out here in these streets. So handsome is just it, and I feel like it people just always see handsome and be like, what is that? For one, they think I'm a school. They call me all day, like, hey, so are you giving out classes and stuff? And I'm like, no. So that's the handsome part. The academy is basically just me teaching you about your hair, how it grows, your weaks, your strongs, what I can do to help with maybe the shape of your head, just a full consultation as I cut your hair. So you don't just come in and say how I want this particular cut. Like a lot of guys come in and say, "Oh, I want to fade," and I'm like, "Well, do you want a high, medium, low, drop fade?" And they be like, "I didn't know there was different fades." And I'm like, "Yeah." So if you wanted a taper, you'll get a high, medium, low taper. And they be like, I never knew that. So just little things like
Mhm.
that, people be like, oh, well, okay. Well, and then I'll explain, like, well, if you get a low taper, you know, the ball line starts here. And if you get a high taper, it starts here. You'll have your vertical bars and nothing else. And they're like, for real? And I'm like, yeah. So I just like teaching people about themselves because once you know about yourself and you know the look that you really want, and you get that particular look, not just what a barber gives you, you feel better about yourself. You know, it's like, okay, this is what I've been looking for, not what this person just has been giving me, and I've been allowing myself to just get. And the
Mhm.
studio part is we in the studio, like, because I do so many things in there. You know, I do the clothes and this, that, and the other. So all of that put together, Handsome Academy Studio. I love it. So I had to put it out there.
Yeah, thank you. Um, you mentioned now a couple of times, you've been in foster care. You talked a little bit about how you remember being 19-year old and struggling in the world. You talked about um, how you felt like before you would never be able to identify as handsome. So I continue to just appreciate your vulnerability and willingness to kind of share some of those things now that you've kind of been on this journey, now that you have um, uh, become an entrepreneur, been able to make a business out of it. What if you could look back, if you can go back and you can talk to the 19-year-old Troy,
Mhm.
what what would you tell Troy at 19 years old now, knowing what you know now from being on this journey?
Um, the 19-year-old me, sheesh, it's so much. It's so like it's so much. Like, you know, we could start off by it gets better later.
Okay.
Um, you know, don't worry about, you know, your surroundings and the people. These are things I tell my son, which is 19 right now. So
Okay.
let's just even do that right now. My son is 19. These are the things I tell my son, like you don't want to wait until you're in your 40s to want to know what you want to do or fall in love with something that you already had a passion for, but you put to the side to play around or be in the streets or anything like that. So I would say whatever you love right now, do it now. Don't waste
Mhm.
any time. Tomorrow's definitely not promised. You know, thank God I was blessed with a bunch of tomorrows to be able to be where I am. I don't even think I've reached my peak of anything, like, and I'm just having fun with it. So I just want to tell old Troy, 19-year-old Troy, have your fun, but do your thing while you at it. Like you don't want to wait till later because it gets harder later. You're more discouraged later on because you always think about your age.
Mm. Wow, I also didn't realize your son is also 19. So what a beautiful reflection of both talking to 19-year-old Troy, but also even how you're saying how you try to reflect that to your son. So
Yeah.
what is your son's name?
His name
I'll say it, wait, one more time. I think you cut out. Oh,
there we go.
okay.
So my son's name is Ty J. We call him TJ.
Okay. Awesome. Well, thank you for bringing Ty J into this space um and let's hope but let's also take the words of wisdom for Ty J and little 19-year-old Troy, help others folks can take it too.
Right.
um I would love to talk a little bit about, so I know you recently started working out of a spot in Morrow, Georgia. um can you talk a little bit about how that experience has been, and what inspired you to want to move to this new spot?
Um, Visibility. I wanted to really be seen. Like you know, again, barbering is an art, and it's an art that I love. I have a passion for. Like, if God would bless me to be able to pay my bills, uh, basically live, have a home, have a decent car, and have um decent amount money for food and clothes with nothing else after that, no surplus of anything, I would just cut hair and that was it. Like that's how much I love it. It's a art. This is oh man, it's like the biggest art form to me. Like I can't get enough of it.
Okay. And how has it helped, or what are the ways you've been? I know that you said also, in addition to moving to a new spot, you've been trying to do more videos, get more people to uh, put more content out there. What's the response been like, and have you been able to get more folks to come out to your new spot?
Um, the response is great. Like, I a lot of people they see me different. They see more substance in me,
Mhm.
which I already had. I just never projected it to the world too much. Again, the courage part, like I didn't have that courage. Um, Also the courage to come here because that was my biggest thing was like I wanted to be more visible. That this goes back to your previous question. I wanted to be more visible. I wanted to be seen and my art to be seen, but I also wanted to do it with more of like competition. The competition, like it's like, and it's not the competition of me trying to be better than anybody, but I wanted to be sharpened. I wanted to work around people and they feed off of me, I feed off of them. Iron sharpens iron. So that was kind of
Mhm.
another thing outside of the visibility part.
Yeah, no, I appreciate you saying that, Troy, because it's interesting because a lot of people also have asked me like why I decided to move to Georgia, and I didn't realize this, but as I've been here and as I've been getting to know more folks, one thing that I've really appreciated about being here in the Atlanta metro area, especially, is the level of like how entrepreneurial people have been. Like people are like, "Yo, I do this. I'm a creative. I'm an artist, but I also." Do this as on the side, and I also have this business. And I didn't necessarily feel that same level of entrepreneurialism or entrepreneurship in DC where I lived before. So I definitely feel that. And I think that like there is something about knowing that there are these other folks who are also trying to do the best they can with what they have, and really tie both like what brings them joy and their passion with how they like are living out in the world. And
Hmm.
so it's interesting that you're saying that because even as I'm reflecting, I'm like, yeah, like I actually it's also been pushing me to get to know other business owners, other entrepreneurs, and as I've been doing so, I'm also getting more inspiration. Also seeing maybe how they are operating and doing certain things, and saying, "Oh, okay," and sharing our lessons and sharing our stories about it, which I think is just another level or layer too um, of you were saying sharpen iron, iron, and there was another point I was going to say, and the connecting point around like how that also is important to have folks in the community who maybe have these similar experience, even if our businesses are doing different things. That
Hmm.
experience of having your own business and what that like the challenges and the opportunities that come along with it are sometimes shared,
Right,
even across different like sectors and the type of business that one may have.
right.
Um, Curious, are there any initiatives or anything that you are working on now that you want to you want to share with folks, or new things that you may be working on?
Yeah, so with the barbering, I'm also a self-taught barber. I've never went to school to learn barbering, and I have no formal education in barbering. So I literally learned this stuff. Like I haven't even got pointers from my big brother. So right now I'm actually in going to be starting school to get a barber's license because like you said, I am actually personally friends with the councilwoman of Georgia, Third Ward. Um, I want to, just start just working with just different foundations, schools. Uh, again, I grew up in foster care, so maybe group homes and even like, just group homes for troubled kids, teens, or whatever. Yeah, I want to abuse. I keep saying I want to abuse my license for the betterment of our younger boys growing up, so that the things that I may have went through or other people may have went through that caused a negative effect on their life, like maybe just something so simple as procrastination or hindrance to be great.
Mm-hmm.
I want them to feel great. You know what I mean? I want them to wake up in the morning and say, hey, I want to go to school because I got a haircut and I just feel good about myself. Again, I make clothes and stuff. So, I want to include that also, whether it's just supplying simple t-shirts to them. A lot of us, again, I was a kid, I didn't have those clothes that everybody had until later on when I was able to work and get it on my own. But I never had the clothes. I never had the haircut. So, I got teased a lot. It's tough waking up and trying to go to school and being in a world where you feel like you don't fit in because of your looks and your presentation. So I want to be that person that helps, our younger people just feel good about themselves. So definitely want to work with a bunch of foundations. I don't care how many. I done prayed to God for this. So I'm like just going head first with this.
Yeah. Well, one, thank you for, or congratulations, I should say, on taking this next step of getting your license. I also want to say congrats for also like being able to start your business and do what you've been able to do without it. Because I think that like it's also important that while I am an advocate for education and places of learning, that we should have like there are many pathways to kind of do the thing to be an entrepreneur to do the things that you want to do in life and that may or may not include school and so
Mm-hmm.
I understand that the schooling could also probably bring maybe other kinds of opportunities but wanting to just affirm that like you have been able to have a successful business without it and excited about all of the things that will come and the manifestation of these partnerships with these foundations with government et cetera
Yes,
that I know is going to happen in the future.
we know it. Let's get it. You're right.
um, uh, what are the ways you want to offer people to stay in contact or follow you if they want to continue following you on this on your journey?
Um, I mean, you could get me on Instagram, Handsome Academy Studio, of course. You could get me on Instagram. I actually just set up a business profile on Facebook, same thing, Handsome Academy Studio. And honestly, like if you want to reach me personally, inquire about haircuts, any type of business that we can set up and all that. My number is 917-740-7129. Like,
Okay, there you have it. Follow Troy on Instagram, Facebook, business profile. Hit him up on his cell phone number. All right. And of course, we've talked about the election before. So before we close out, I just have to just do one more plug. Election is literally election day is a week from tomorrow. I know in Georgia, early voting is happening until Friday, November 1st, so you can early vote
yep,
now. It's been a record amount of early voters so far in Georgia. And if
yep.
you don't vote by Friday, then you can vote, of course, on election day next Tuesday. What is some words of wisdom or what is something that you want to encourage fellow neighbors, community members as it relates to this upcoming election?
Um, let's just be all the way real. I voted for Kamala. All right, so I'm
Okay.
I'm just gonna be straight real. I have nothing to hide.
Okay.
I could care less about what anybody else feels. I just want to talk to the men, the fellas, who's giving her like so much grief. Stop being afraid of a woman being the leader of this country, because at the end of the day, like let's take all of that off of the table about just the presidency. Like honestly, if we focus more on our town, our community, and then work our way up, we could get more things done within our communities and neighborhoods. Like, just something is our sheriff, council women and men, like those are the people who really affect our neighborhoods and stuff. But when we want to go to the country and stuff, even under the president, it's the House of Representatives, our senators. Those are the people that we really need. Because if you're okay, let's say if you're a Democrat, right, and you over out here and you just voting just to vote, right? So if there are outnumbered, if there's more Republicans in within a certain place. And those are the people who actually vote what the president does. They all have to align just like this for you to get more done. So when you go vote, don't go out there and just vote for anybody. Don't vote because this is a guy or a woman or this person is the lesser evil, because that's what we've been hearing for the last
Mhm.
probably 3 terms, right? Right? Oh, I'm gonna vote for the lesser evil. No, do your homework, right? And stop worrying about people's past, because guess what? Just like I can change, you could change, anybody else could change. So what they put out into the world back in the day may not be the focus on today, because they understand things a lot more different. There's a progression going on, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah,
Um,
I'm. Oh, go ahead.
So, again, fellas, this I'm really talking to the fellas. Stop being afraid of a woman. I'm not trying to sway you on any side, but when somebody can go out there and publicly disrespect you, and you don't even take disrespect in the hood, how can you side with that person, whatever side it is?
Mm.
I'm gonna leave that there.
Okay. So, what I'm hearing and what I'd also offer is that voting is important to choose the conditions that our neighborhoods are in and the organizing conditions that we can be in. That we got some major choices, not just for the White House or for the Senate or for the House of Representatives, but all the way down ballot, including your city council. There's multiple ballot propositions in each state, including in Georgia. And it is a privilege to vote. Not everyone gets to vote, and so if you are eligible to vote, then this is our ask that you do so. And if you're in Georgia, you can early vote till Friday, and of course, you can vote on election day next Tuesday, November 5th. So,
Yes.
um,
And I
please,
encourage people to just early vote. Don't wait till Tuesday to give an excuse as to why you didn't get a chance to vote. Early vote, get it out the way. Like there's no lines. I got in there in about 5 minutes. Like just go do it.
that's great. Well, thank you again for joining us, Troy. Before we close out, any final words of wisdom or anything that you want to offer um, before we close out this conscious conversation?
Uh, I encourage everybody to be courageous, be whoever they are. Do not worry about the backlash of whoever it is that may object to what and who you are, and just do it. And if there's anybody in your inner circle that objects, those are the people you really don't need around you. Get them out of there. There's going to be more and more people you meet that's going to just give you so much more praise and support in your life than somebody that you were in a sandbox with. So just keep positive people around you, and just pray more, man.
Awesome. Well, Thank you for sharing. Thank you for being here with us, Troy. I appreciate this conversation. Thank you, everyone, for joining us, either now or who's going to watch this video later. And we'll come back again with another conscious conversation with Can't Stop, Won't Stop Consulting. Take care,
Yeah, and I
everyone.
want to come back too, so we could, follow up.
Okay. I got you, Troy. See you in the
Word.
chair soon.
My brother, I'll see you later, man. Y'all be cool.
Take care.
All right, thank you.